Hi, precious heart. Thank you for joining us for our weekly vlog. The masses of humanity are awakening during the unprecedented moment unfolding on Earth at this time. I do not usually talk about myself or my personal experiences, but due to the need of the hour and the opportunity currently being presented to humanity, the Company of Heaven is asking me to share some important things with you today that I learned during my lifetime quest for answers. The divine intent of this personal sharing is to help you remember who you are really. I was born during World War II, and I did not experience a lot of childhood joy as I was growing up. Instead, I experienced and observed a lot of fear and confusion. However, from the very time I was a small child, I had an inner knowing that the pain and suffering occurring on Earth was not normal. So my confusion was, if that is true, why are so many people experiencing so much pain in their lives? That very question initiated my lifetime quest for answers that led me through the gamut of world religions and whatever I could find in the field of academics. To my surprise, there was a recurring thread of knowledge that seemed to keep presenting itself to me wherever I looked. I eventually learned that this recurring principle is known as the law of the circle. In Eastern religions, this is referred to as karma, or the law of cause and effect. In Judaism, it is an eye for eye, a tooth for a tooth. The complete statement should have been an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, a hug for a hug, and a kiss for a kiss, so that we would see the whole picture. In Christianity, the principle is reflected in the statements, we reap what we sow, and when we cast our bread upon the water, it returns to us. In metaphysics, this familiar principle is described as the outbreath and the in-breath of God. In the field of science, the law of this circle is described as like attracts like, or for every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. Also, the concept of radiation and magnetization reflects this universal law. The law of this circle dictates that what we send out through our thoughts, words, feelings, and actions must return to us. Therefore, at any given moment, our lives are reflecting the sum total of whatever it is that we have created through our past thoughts, words, feelings, and actions. This profound truth applies to every man, woman, and child, whether our behavior during our various earthly sojourns was deliberate or inadvertent. With that realization, it was clear to me that if we do not like what is happening in our lives, we have the ability to change things by improving the way we are thinking, speaking, feeling, and acting. This seemed like just plain common sense to me, a no-brainer. So my resounding question was, if all of the sources of information on this planet, both spiritual and academic, are confirming that through the law of this circle we have created our present realities, and that we have the ability to change the things that are taking place in our lives by improving our behavior, why in the world is humanity still in the mess that we are in? I began by seeking answers to that question, first from the religious leaders. They pretty consistently said, it's because Eve ate that darned apple. Next, I went to the scientific community. Their response was, matter evolves out of chaos by happenstance. Humanity evolved from an amoeba in a mud puddle by chance. There is no greater rhyme or reason for our existence. What is, just is. I was very disappointed and somewhat dismayed by the explanations I received from the knowledgeable sources on the planet. But I was not about to give up my quest. I intuitively felt that there is order in the universe and that God will respond to our heartfelt pleas. So in the silence of my heart, I once again asked God for answers. After several days of meditation, quiet contemplation, and listening, I clearly heard the words, "Seek ye first the kingdom of heaven within, and all else will be revealed to you." These are familiar words from the Bible that we've probably all heard, but I was not sure what they really meant. During one of my meditations, I asked for clarity and understanding. Shortly after that request, I began to experience a deeper level of trust and a very calming inner peace during my meditations. Every day I set aside some time to meditate and to go within, to the divinity of my heart. This was the place I came to know through the mystery schools as the secret place of the Most High Living God. Within the sanctuary of my heart, I asked God to reveal to me what the kingdom of heaven within really is. Then I patiently waited, trusting that in divine timing my prayers would be answered. I don't remember just how long it took, but one day when I was meditating, I experienced a brilliant point of light within my heart. As I focused my attention on this light, it began to slowly rotate and expand. Gradually, the pinpoint of light became a spiraling sun that enveloped my entire physical body. As I surrendered into the embrace of this resplendent light, I was lifted up into a higher consciousness. All of my senses were enhanced, and in a sublime moment of wondrous bliss, I actually felt that this must be what it is like to touch the face of God. When I returned from my meditation, I somehow knew that the spiraling sun of light was now securely anchored within the divinity of my heart. The next day, when I went into meditation, the pinpoint of light in my heart was present, and it instantly expanded into a spiraling sun that enveloped my physical body. As I reveled in the wonder of what was happening to me, I intensely focused on consciously absorbing and remembering the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding that God was intuitively revealing to me. Day after day, the blissful joy of my meditations increased. Then one day, in the midst of my meditation, I had an epiphany. In what seemed like a flash of enlightenment, I realized that what I was experiencing was perfectly normal. This was the way things were supposed to be for everyone. We are all supposed to have this very natural, open heart and mind, telepathic communication with God. This is not about being psychic or channeling. This process was not supernatural, nor was I gifted with superior extrasensory perception. I was merely reclaiming the natural abilities that humanity lost after our fall from grace eons ago. In that moment, I knew in the very core of my being that open heart and mind telepathic communication with God is humanity's divine birthright. I realized that this is what was meant by the statement that had been reverberating in my heart over and over again as I entered my meditations. That statement was, "You are a daughter of God, and all that God has is yours." When I returned from my meditation that day, I was overwhelmed with gratitude and a sense of elation. I took a few minutes to assimilate my experience. Then, in the embrace of complete surrender, the depths of which I had never experienced, I asked God what I could do to be the most effective force of God's light on earth. After a few moments, beloved Jesus, who is the being of light I was most familiar with at the time, projected his luminous presence into my mind's eye and said, with overwhelming compassion, "Bring to the mankind of earth the realization of their own divinity." After an awestruck moment, I experienced a lucid reasoning and a level of insight that made Jesus' words crystal clear. I thought, of course, that is the answer. Humanity is co-creating this earthly experience through our thoughts, words, feelings, and actions. But we have all been programmed by our fear-based human egos and several power-oriented manipulative sources outside of ourselves into believing that we are worthless sinners and worms in the dust. We become who we believe we are. As long as we keep empowering those lies, we will keep co-creating experiences that confirm that distorted belief system. It is impossible to fathom how dramatically things will change once humanity remembers that each and every person is a beloved child of God, and that all our Father, Mother, God have is ours. The very first thing our I Am presence reveals to us when we begin to awaken is that we are not our fear-based human ego. Our ego is a fragmented part of our consciousness that is fighting tooth and nail just to survive in this chaotic world. Every one of us is a beloved daughter or son of God, and all that our Father, Mother, God have is our divine birthright. The only reason it is difficult for us to remember that truth is because humanity has been accepting for millennia the fallacy that separation and duality are real. The belief that we are separate from God and each other has caused more problems than just about anything else. So today, the company of heaven is asking you to let go of any misconceptions you have about who you are, and to allow these words from our Father, Mother, God to resonate in the deepest recesses of your heart. This is a quote from our Father, Mother, God that reveals who you are really. You are a precious and beloved child of God. Your unique golden thread of life confirms your divinity and reveals the reality that you are an essential part of Earth's ascension in the light. This knowing will renew your faith in yourself and will remind you that you are a priceless human being. Once this realization truly registers in your heart and your conscious mind, you will never again say, "What good could I possibly achieve? What value am I? What difference will one soul make?" You will recognize those words to be a sacrilege. We are your Father, Mother, God. We created you, and we have chosen to express some beautiful manifestation of life through you. You are destined to fulfill a portion of the glorious divine plan unfolding on planet Earth. Now is the time for you to release the unique perfume and music of your being to bless all life. The purity of your fragrance and keynote is unlike any other ever released by the sons and daughters of God. Something sacred is hidden within your being that has never been known by another. It is an exquisite expression of life, which your I Am presence alone can externalize. It is time for you to accept this divine truth. It is time for you to stand revealed as your mighty I Am presence grown to full stature. And so it is. Dear one, contemplate this sharing and ask the divinity within your heart flame, which is your I Am presence, to help you remember this profound truth. God bless you, and I look forward to being with you next week.